Hello everyone, my name is Niranjan Mahapatra. I am a Principal Product Manager at Oracle Cloud Infrastructure team. In this video, I am going to talk about Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Tenancy and Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Virtual Cloud Network, a different component of a Virtual Cloud Network for SAP deployment on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. We have another video shows how to create the different components to deploy SAP on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure using Terraform code. So in this video, I will be talk about a quick overview of SAP reference architecture. Then I will talk about the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure tenancy and different component of VCN required for SAP deployment. This is a simple SAP reference architecture. This architecture is designed to deploy SAP application in a single availability domain of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. This architecture shows based on host and the SAP Web Dispatcher configured with public subnet, whereas SAP App Tier, App Server, SAP Database Server, file shared storage, and SAP Router configured with the private subnet. There are different security lists configured to allow access to different layer of SAP App Tier and Database Tier and so on. Let me show you OCI console and then talk about the OCI tenancy and OCI VCN, etc. So once you log into the OCI account, first thing you need to choose from the right top corner, you need to choose the appropriate region where you created the resources. So once you select the region, then you can go uh, click on the resources, whatever created for SAP deployment. So before actually talking about OCI VCN, let me give you overview about OCI tenancy. OCI tenancy is an Oracle Cloud account given to you when you register for Oracle Public Cloud, which is known as Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. It is a root compartment that contains all your organization compartments and other Oracle Cloud Infrastructure resources such as compute, networking, storage, user, VCN, etc. So within the tenancy, you can create additional compartments apart from the root compartment, which is a logical container to organize OCI resources like compute, storage, VCN, etc. For example, you can create a SAP compartment to manage all the resources associated to SAP application. In this video, I am not going to cover how to create the compartment and all other resources required for SAP application. However, I would recommend to visit module 3 video of SAP on OCI shows all the required resources created for a SAP application using Terraform code. So I'll talk about virtual cloud network including CIDR block, subnets, route table, security list on which the SAP instance runs. Let me click on the networking and a virtual cloud network. So you can see here that SAP VCN, which is created for SAP deployment on OCI. If I click on SAP VCN, you will see all the resources associated to that VCN created for SAP deployment on OCI. So first thing is subnets. Subnet where like you define the CIDR block and you also define like whether it's a private subnet or public subnet. So there are 8 different subnet created. So you can see here from DBNet, SAP Net, SAP Router Net, Western subnet, and Load Balancer subnet. So there are 8 different subnet created with all different CIDR blocks. So some of the subnets are private subnet, and some of the subnets are public subnet, depending on the SAP uh, different tiers requirement. Let's say like for database tier, we have a DBNet, which is a private subnet for, and the SAP net, which is like for SAP app tier, which is again a private subnet, and a SAP router net also a private subnet, and Western host is a public subnet. So through Western host, you can actually access the all these private subnet host, and also Western host will have internet access and public access. So coming to the route table, there are different route table created. We have defined the route rules for different route table that is associated for different layer of the SAP deployment. For example, SAP DB PBRT, which is like a database route table, which has two route rules. One is for NAT gateway and other one is for accessing object storage. Similarly, like SAP FSS PBRT, which has one route rule which required to access the shared file system, and SAP PBRT, which is like which has only one route rule that is required for SAP app tier. So there are like different route rule created. Similarly, we have another resource which is called Internet Gateway, which allows internet access to the public network. So the important thing here is like security list that actually enable you to open the different TCP port. For example, we have a DB security list here, which has 1521 TCP port open, so that like other host can access to DB's SAP DB host through that port. So similarly, like we have FSS security list, we have load balancer security list, we have SAP router security list, and for Western, we have Western security list. So every security list has its own rule, and we have a open different port for this security list. So we have one NAT gateway that is required for the private subnet to access internet. For example, database host, uh, it is run on private subnet. Nobody can outside from the network. Nobody can reach out to database host, but database host can reach out to the internet through NAT gateway. Also, like ACP app tier, it also runs on private subnet, and like whenever it's required, it can reach out to public internet using through the NAT gateway. So we have service gateway created. The requirement of service gateway here is like to access OCI storage, object storage, through the service gateway, and the host can access the OCI subject object storage. Thanks for watching this video. For any questions, concerns, you can reach out to SAP OCI team.